Okay, so I'm James Coyle from SMRS. I'm the client partner there. For anybody who doesn't know, SMRS are an employer marketing agency. We help companies find, keep, motivate and engage the kind of people that they want to bring into their organisation. We specialise in employer branding and attraction marketing and everything in between. Today we're going to take you through the journey we're on with Mydentists in building and developing their employer brand. And you'll see as we go along through our 6-step process that you can sort of use the same principles and the same process in developing your very own. But before we get onto that, I'll hand over to Rob so he can introduce himself and give you an overview of Mydentist.
Cool, morning everybody. I'm Rob from Mydentists. It's great to be here, although it's weird with it not being a rave. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But anyway, a little bit about Mydentists. So I'd never heard of Mydentists either, but we are in fact Europe's largest dental healthcare provider. So we've got around about 650 dental practices across the UK. And in those dental practices, obviously, we've got everybody from your receptionists on the front desk, your practice managers, through to some really highly skilled technical clinicians and nurses, and then really specialist dentists. So we employ a really sort of broad range of skills across the company. We've got around about 5,000 employed colleagues, and then we've got around about 3,000 self-employed associate dentists. It's quite an interesting mix of people that make the business what it is. 8 million patients, and I joined as their head of resourcing in November 2017. And we've been on a journey really looking to redevelop the purpose of our organisation so we can become a real destination in our industry.
Okay, so employer branding. What is it? Ultimately, it's what people think and feel about you as a place to work. So whether you like it or not, you've already got one. And the challenge is to make sure that you can uncover yours and to make sure that you communicate it in a way that sort of talks to the people you want to bring into your organisation, and it sort of motivates and engages the people that you've already got in your company that you want to keep. In terms of why it matters, obviously I'd have to tell you that it's a challenging marketplace. You want to keep the best candidates in the market, and everybody else in the market wants those same candidates. So you need to make sure that you're positioning your company in a way that talks to the candidates that you're after and engages with them and tells them why they should stay at your company rather than go to a competitor. You also want to make sure that you can show a strong return on investment on all of your recruitment and engagement activity. You want to keep and motivate your people, and you want to develop a workforce that positions, that performs and delivers. In terms of what it can achieve, an authentic employer brand can help you to show the world what you're about and why you're unique. It can attract and retain the best people by telling them a persuasive and reassuring case for choosing you. And it can give you a voice that cuts through all the noise. Like I say, it is a competitive market. Lots of people are after the same people. And when you go into the various job boards, lots of people are trying to sell the dream in the same way. You want to make sure that you can position yourself differently to everybody else. But you don't have to take my word for it. We have some compelling stats here which will help build any business case you may need. Organisations that prioritise employer branding are 250% more likely to rate their overall talent acquisition efforts as highly effective. Employers that invest in employer branding, for instance, reported a 54% increase in the quality of their talent pool. And those who invest in employer branding are 130% more likely to see increases in employee engagement across the business. But there's more. 67% of job seekers said that accept a lower salary if the company that they were looking to join had positive reviews on the likes of Glassdoor and Indeed and the other review sites. Employers with strong employer brands also see a 43% decrease in cost per hire, and 83% agree an employer brand has a significant impact on the ability to hire talent and reduce staff turnover. So in terms of building and developing an employer brand, this is the process that we take at SMRS. We find that it works for any shape, size of organisation, any budget. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through each of the steps that we're going on at the moment with Rob at Mydentist in developing their employer brand, so you can see the employer brand process come to life.
So just out of interest, put your hands up if you're a recruiter or you're working in a sector where you've got really difficult roles to fill. Yeah, okay, cool. So it's really interesting. So I've worked in recruitment for a long time, but I think it is really getting harder and harder and harder. And for those of you that have been reading the news over the last couple of weeks or months, you'll see these loads of really high-profile articles, particularly relating to immigration issues surrounding medical professionals. And that is something which massively affects us at Mydentists, because obviously we're very much reliant on skilled clinical professionals to become either dentists or nurses with us. There's a shortage of those skills in the UK anyway, which is one of the main reasons why when I arrived at Mydentists, I started to really engage our exec around the importance of our employer brand, and within that, our employer value proposition. So really getting the exec in the business to think differently about why we were a great place to work. We'd grown through acquisition, so in my case, sort of my dentist when he was growing up, Dr. Oliver, when he retired, we would buy his practice and we would brand it in the teal colours. But we weren't doing anything with the people in that practice, so as far as they were concerned, they still really were Dr. Oliver people, but they just happened to now be working in a Mydentist practice. Times that by 650, and you can imagine it presents loads of challenges around the culture of the organisation, and also what that employer value proposition is. And also, if you think that a lot of those people didn't want to be acquired, they were quite happy working for Dr. Oliver, who they'd known all their entire life, and all of a sudden they were now part of this big sort of bad corporate that was telling them what to do and introducing new processes and procedures around health and safety. So there was still quite a bad vibe in the organisation. But nobody had really started to make that link between why were we having difficulties attracting dentists or patients and having these really bad perceptions amongst the communities we served and the journey that we've been on as we evolved as a business. So in those conversations, we started to think about what we wanted the employer brand to be. And it really was the things that you see on the screen in front of you. For me, it was really important that it was authentic. But equally, I wanted it to be something which everyone was really proud of, and it really sort of stood us apart from other healthcare businesses. So without wanting to offend anyone else that works in the healthcare profession, a lot of the recruitment advertising stuff that we do is generally quite boring. It's really vanilla, it's all quite traditional photographs of clinicians looking happy in practices or surgeries and what have you. And I felt that there was a real space in the market for us to try and do something which was different and sort of challenge the norm. So I had to work quite hard to get the exec on board with that vision, because it was quite risky and edgy. But equally, I felt that if we were to really talk and engage everyone in the organisation, it would help us not just fix our outward employer brand, but it would also really help us discover who we really were, and create that sense of community. So what we did was we went out to loads and loads of our colleagues. So we issued surveys pretty much to everybody that worked for us who was either employed or self-employed, with a really well-structured internal comms plan. And we actually had the biggest response rate in the history of the company. So it turned out that everyone was actually really interested in this too. Everyone really wanted to know what did being part of Mydentist really mean. And the outputs of that helped us then inform the direction of the journey that we were going to go on, really. And again, to stress, it wasn't just about recruitment, it was much bigger than that. It was about our purpose, and it was also sort of really, really about what we wanted to be as a great place to work. So it helped us across all those different areas.
Fab. So so once we had the initial talk session with Rob and all the various stakeholders of the employer brand, we then started to put together the actual full proposal to meet the needs of the talk session and what everybody wanted to get out of the employer brand. So we started off with the dig stage, which is the most important stage of the employer brand, because this is the research stage. So this is getting everybody's thoughts and feelings about Mydentist as a place to work. It goes right the way from the leadership team right the way down to the people on the front line. So for Mydentist, we did this through leadership interviews. We did focus groups with associate dentists, overseas dentists, practice managers, dental nurses, and there was also an online survey that went out to every member of staff across the business. So we got a real robust feel of why people worked at Mydentist and why people who are looking, or potentially not looking, why they should also join Mydentist. Obviously, there's always going to be some grumps and groans and what have you when you're hosting focus groups, and when there's surveys, people can use it as a bit of a stick to beat you with. However, fortunately for Mydentist, overall the research was really positive, and we came up with some really, really compelling reasons why people should stay at Mydentist and why they'd want to work there.
So the dig phase was really important. When I arrived at the company, we had already done loads and loads of staff surveys, but they were generally not very well responded to, so the sample groups weren't great. And what I found was that actually the information we were getting through those surveys was very much around what. So what is the reason you want to, be here? What is the reason you want to do this? What is the reason you want to do that? But there was nothing about the why. And actually, to develop something which is really meaningful, you've got to kind of get to the heart of why the issues are important to your colleagues. So I had a lot of back and twos with senior managers who were going, we do staff surveys, we've done loads of surveys before, why do we need to go out and do another survey? And I suspect for anyone in the room that's on this journey as well, this might be something that you come up against. And for me, it was about getting everyone to appreciate that we need to understand what emotionally connects our colleagues to that sense of getting out of bed in the morning and wanting to be a Mydentist dentist as opposed to being a dentist anywhere else in the country. So that was something that was really important for us. In terms of what our people said, you can imagine it was the good, the bad and the ugly. So we got loads of positive stuff, but we also got loads of negative stuff. So we had to really think about, before we did the survey, how's all that going to feed into various work streams to inform how we develop our employer proposition. So one of the outputs was the information that you see on the screen. So you can have a read through some of the things that our colleagues were saying. Obviously, these are just the good things. We thought we'd save the bad things. But there were quite a lot of bad things. And what we did with those is we shaped up work streams. So we got the exec to sponsor different work streams. One of them, for example, was loads of the dentists didn't think we responded quickly enough to maintenance issues. The chair might be broken, which is a massive issue affecting employee engagement. So we used the outputs of this to inform lots of other strategic work streams, which are now being developed to help improve us being a great place to work. So there was loads more benefit than just the recruitment side of things. So you can see here on screen, there's quite a few sort of quotes. And what we did then with SMRS is we started to try and develop themes because we'd got thousands of these responses. So we did loads of analysis. And what we found was that actually we had a bad rep. So if you talk to independent dentists, they were all like, don't go to my dentist. They've got a really bad rep. They don't look after the dentist. They don't maintain the equipment. Clinical standards are really, really poor. But actually, once people joined us, they absolutely loved it because we did all the administration for them. We had a really friendly support centre that could support them with the marketing so they never ran out of patients. We had a really brilliant academy which people could go to and they were getting like 50% discount on the courses. So we found that actually once people started working for us, they were like, oh my God, it's actually a really good place to work. And they would then start becoming advocates of us as a great place to work, which obviously fed into our employee referral programme. The other thing which people really loved was we're pretty massive. So what that means is that you've got opportunities to grow your career with us. If you worked in an independent practice and you wanted to become a senior nurse or a head nurse, you might be restricted in terms of your career development. But at Mydentists, you can grow upwards, sideways. There's loads of different training programs. So whether you're a receptionist wanting to become a practice manager and an area manager, or you're a dentist wanting to specialise, we found that our growth was a big part of our strengths, and we were able to really support people's career development, which is something which is massively important to all industries, but we found it was particularly important to our clinical colleagues. Putting patients first, no surprises there. Obviously, this is a bit of an obvious one for most healthcare companies, but clearly everyone got out of bed in the morning because they really cared about doing the best by the patients. But also what we found was there was a real community feel. So one of the things we didn't really message about was how important we were as part of the local community. And years ago, I used to work for the co-op, so obviously we're all about the community there. So that was something which really resonated for me personally. And once we started talking in terms of community with our colleagues, we found everyone got really excited and really engaged and really connected to that. So I think the other sense that we got was all about really shaping our future. So we've gone through loads and loads of change in the last couple of years. We've got practically an entire new exec, and we really needed to go to the market with a message saying, look, we're under new management. We know we've made mistakes in the past. Don't hold that against us. We are actually now becoming a really great place to work. And the message to our staff was, you can really help us shape our future direction. So we're listening, we're taking what you're saying seriously, and we want you to come with us on this journey. So actually, the outputs from this survey helped inform loads of different things around the business strategy, which are going to help us really redefine the success of the business moving forward.
Okay, so once we'd actually got those key themes from all of the research that we carried out, we then developed them into the attributes or the pillars of the employer brand. And now Mydentists are using these attributes for their internal values as well, or the strengths you call them, aren't you? So, and whilst all of them will ring true because they've come from the people at Mydentist, there are going to be some that resonate more with certain audiences within Mydentist. So, for example, like Rob was saying, for a dental nurse, a trainee dental nurse coming into the business, it may be a place to grow resonates more with them because they know that by joining Mydentist, there is that career progression that's not available in an independent practice. So when we go to market, rather than broad brushing and trying to push every single attribute on there, we will sort of dial them up, dial them down, depending on the audience that we're looking to target. And then on top of these the attributes, you've then got the core proposition for Mydentist. Apologies, I did try and learn this off by heart, but I've not, so I'll read it out if that's okay. Okay, so this is the Mydentist elevator pitch. So we exist to look after our patients and provide the highest standard of care we possibly can. Passionate about people, we go out of our way to deliver an outstanding experience that's second to none. Because being the best drives us, leading the charge excites us, and setting the standard for UK dental excellence is what we always aim to do. We support our people to aim high too, to explore every opportunity to grow, develop and be exceptional. Our size, scope and resources offer a learning environment that has to be seen to be believed, an environment in which you're encouraged to believe in yourself and always supported to achieve your full potential. Discover the time, space and opportunity to achieve the career you always wanted. So anybody wanted a job at Mydentist, that hopefully I sold it for you.
Just tripped off the tongue there really nicely, really short and sweet. Yeah, we know that one.
And then on top of this is the big idea, which is the creative expression of the employer brand. And in Mydentist's case, this is a reason to smile.
So just before we move on, I think there's a bit of a comedy story here. So we kind of did the theming out of the back of the surveys, and then we started going back out and consulting to see these really good ones. And this one was massively contentious. So our exec wanted that to be called under new management, which is this idea that we were going to sort of be under new management. But we were saying, no, you can't have that because we're only going to be under new management for a short period of time. Otherwise, we're just going to terrify our staff. It's going to become like our talent, we're under new management, people get terrified, they're going to get sacked. So we had to work really hard to change that to restlessly ambitious, which we think is something which is going to have much more of a sort of sustainable feel to it. But it just goes to show that even when you think you've got everybody lined up on these journeys, there's loads of curveballs. So we're sure that this will continue to evolve over time. So basically, the creative expression, or the big idea that we came up with, was called a reason to smile. So dentistry cliches aside, the real sort of emotional story here is that as a dentist, we are here to make people smile. So whether that is literally a dentist helping you to get the smile that you always wanted, which is obviously a really important thing for most of our patients, or if it's about us saying we want all of our colleagues to smile and we're giving you a reason to smile because you really love us being a place to work, we felt that a reason to smile in those 4 words really encapsulates what we want the spirit of our business to really be about. So everything really boils down to those 4 words, and what we're doing now is we're going out and we're talking to all of our colleagues about this purpose to really get them to think about what that means for them. So whether you're a patient, whether you're a colleague, the key word really is reason. So what we're trying to get our colleagues to think about is, what is that reason? So what does that mean to you if you're one of our receptionists? What is it about your job that you really love and gives you the reason to smile? So it might be seeing Mrs. Devlin that comes every 6 months to get her dentures tweaked, because of false teeth hurt or whatever it is. Those are the kind of stories on a very human level that we will really, really bring the values to life. So through our big idea, what we wanted to do was to come up with this new illustrative style. So believe it or not, in healthcare, this is like, whoa, completely radical that we're going to do something which isn't just a photograph of a dentist, with a smiling patient. So we've developed this new illustrative style, which I think is really cool. It's going to really set us apart. It gives us loads and loads of creative options in terms of the different ways we're going to express this across the employer brand. And the idea is, for me, it sort of creates this real visual sense of community in the way we work together as a team, but always have the patients at the heart of everything that we do. So sticking with our corporate colour palette, which is obviously the teal, what we did is we went about developing these sort of little avatar characters. And in a lot of the illustrations, the tooth representing obviously the patient is always at the heart of everything that we do. And you can see we've got different sort of configurations of dentists at work or dentists at home, doing a bit of paragliding at the weekend, as most dentists do, generally enjoying life and loving being a part of the Mydentist family. So I'm really pleased with this. I think it is really exciting. We've started doing some testing of this style with both our existing clinicians and prospective clinicians, and we're getting really, really cool feedback on it. Everybody thinks it's different. Everybody gets what it's about. I think it gives you enough sort of space with your own imagination as well to sort of really think through what this might mean for you as somebody who works for us.
Yeah, so now we've got the creative concept. What we're trying to do now is to get everybody involved in it. So, like Rob says, ultimately we want the Mydentist employer brand to be developed and expressed by the Mydentist people. So we're running a competition at the moment. So comms have gone out to everybody in the business to say these are all of our attributes. This is the employer brand journey. This is where we're up to. Now we want your feedback, your stories. Which of the attributes resonate most with you? And the prize is to be a part of the employer brand. And just to show you what that might look like.
Handsome head of resource in there, smiling away, a reason to smile, and ta-da! So clearly I'm not going to be a competition winner here. I've not entered the competition. But what we've done is we've gone out to our colleagues and we're getting them to submit like Insta stories or Insta videos or the Snapchatting in their stories. And this resonates massively with our nurse population, who are obviously totally in the millennial age group. We're getting some of our dentists writing poems, sending them all in to us, and then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using those stories actually in our careers website and in the attraction materials that we're presenting. So in this example here, what I'm doing is I'm bringing to life Restlessly Ambitious, which for me, as somebody that's been in the business for a year, is a value that really resonates with me. I've never worked for a more supportive exec, an organisation that is all about transformation and truly being the best at everything that it does, whether it's recruitment, marketing, patient care. So for me, Restlessly Ambitious really, really resonates. And you can see here how that might look if you were to drop me into the little Mydentist world. And you can imagine here, the way we can bring this to life on our careers website or through social is really cool. So you'll be able to click on the different avatars. It will take you through to real video content of actual Mydentist people talking about their experience. We're also thinking about gamifying some of the careers content, again, to appeal to some of our younger prospective audiences. So things like gamified applications for nurses, where you get to walk around a surgery and experience what it's really like, working in a dentist surgery to help you with your application and stuff. So I hope you like it. This is going to be the look and feel for our new employer brand.
Okay, so once we've got all the winners in and we've developed all of the various assets, so that's all of the copy, all of the illustrations and all of the video, we'll then take this to market to go live. So obviously, a lot of times when companies develop their employer brand, it's very much focused around the attraction space, but we want this to be shared, because they're going to be the internal values, the internal strengths. We want to make sure that it's lived and breathed right throughout the talent life cycle through attraction, selection, onboarding, learning and development, talent management, and engagement. So no matter where people see or hear about Mydentist, they'll have that consistency of look and feel. And then once things are actually live and in the market, we'll make sure that it's landing right with the people. So we'll make sure we'll test how it's been received, what impact it's having, and how it can be improved if there are any tweaks. Like Rob said, it's an evolving thing. Obviously there were a few headaches trying to get the wording right on that last attribute. So obviously we want to make sure that it is connecting with the people that we want to bring into the business and with those people already at Mydentist. And to do this, we'll carry out things like pulse surveys, focus groups. Obviously, we'll track all the activity that we're carrying out, and we'll hold some workshops as well, just to make sure that it is having the impact that we want it to have.